Monetize Colin.
Yeah, leverage the all-in audience.
Yeah, that's the good news here. Colin's doing really well. Great long.
I'm gonna be rich. Tahoe's on fire. The jewel of California is gonna be ash. But Colin got 10,000 downloads.
Look, I think that in terms of processing all the bad news, I do think we have a tendency to underestimate how much political partisans sort of whip things up. In any event, should we end with this Rogan thing? I actually think it's a pretty good issue to talk about.
Joe Rogan got COVID. I think they misframed what he said. I actually saw the original quote where he said, should a young person take the vaccine? This was in the very early days of the vaccine, or should they wait a little bit and see if it's safe? I think was his position. Not one I agree with, but I don't think what he said was absolutely crazy. His quote was, if someone has an ideological, physiological reason for not getting vaccinated, I don't want to force him to get vaccinated. So, and then he got it and he had to cancel some shows.
I think there's something kind of funny here, but also kind of serious here about the way the media covers news like this. First of all, the media is positively gleeful whenever they can report that somebody who expressed any vaccine hesitancy or skepticism gets COVID, right? It's almost ghoulish, I think. Look, I'm vaccinated. I'm really happy I got the vaccine. I think it helped me have a much, much milder case of COVID than I otherwise would have had. So I'm pro-vax or whatever, but here's what the media does. And the craziest headline I saw about Rogan was that Rogan is taking a horse dewormer as medicine,
so dumb.
Referring to ivermectin, right? Now, look, I don't know whether ivermectin is a helpful treatment or not. I think you got to do a double-blind study to figure that out. But I also think that it's very dishonest to be describing ivermectin as a horse deworm. I mean, the person who invented ivermectin intended it as a treatment for humans. Humans do take it as a treatment against certain parasites. It also happens to have a benefit in deworming horses, but that's just one of its applications. So to describe this drug as a horse dewormer as if it was the only thing it does, the purpose of that is to make anyone who thinks that ivermectin is a possible treatment, to make them look ridiculous, right? And, so why is the press doing that? Well, the agenda is the press decided that vaccines are good. Okay, I agree with them about that. But this is where it goes off the rails. They decide that anybody in pursuing that agenda, they have to make any alternative to vaccine, which would be any therapeutic treatment, and anyone who would take that therapeutic treatment look ridiculous. And this is where I think the media just crossed over into total dishonesty. They're doing the same thing with monoclonal antibodies, which actually I think are treatment that works. But anyone who is expressing support for
this all goes back to the polarization with Trump, right? What was the drug that he was such a big proponent of that didn't actually work?
Hydroxychloroquine.
So I think it's back to that. What do you think, Friedberg? Are you have any opinion on Joe Rogan getting dunked on? Another anecdotal story of somebody.
It's interesting to observe how much we've kind of, as with a lot of things, when I say we, I mean like society, each of us, reading social media, the internet, media itself, kind of orient things along a spectrum, right and wrong, black and white, left and right. I feel like vaccination and vaccines have similarly become you're either vaccinated and you're good, or you're not vaccinated or you're bad, or the opposite is true. And it's pretty clear, there's tons of evidence that vaccination, while it may reduce kind of the severity of COVID, there seems to be much less protective effect with respect to transmission, particularly with this Delta variant now. And that's just a fact. You can say, oh my gosh, I'm vaccinated, therefore I'm safe. It's like, no, you're also exposed to Delta as someone who's unvaccinated in terms of catching it and transmitting it to other people. There may be less severity and there may be less transmission. One interesting fact, by the way, is that there's much, much, much less time when you're vaccinated and you get infected with Delta when you're actually infectious. Yeah, incredibly reduced amount of time from like 10 days to like 1 to 2 days. But still, that is a very infectious kind of variant, and so it's spreading. But it's almost like we're blaming people that aren't vaccinated for Delta spreading. Delta's spreading because it's a really effective virus at spreading. It's like end of story. And this orientation around like you're the reason that Delta's spreading is completely false, and everyone tries to then fit the story into that narrative. the Joe Rogan story.
Don't you think there's like such a strong agenda?
The guy got infected. It sucks. Like, it has nothing to do with
was
anything.
he vaccinated or not?
He was vaccinated. I don't know. Who cares? Like, the point is, it's not about he didn't do anything wrong in the sense, and he's not to blame. This Delta variant is infecting people. Sacks got infected with Delta. He's vaccinated.
No, I mean, I think the point people are trying to make here, Friedberg, is that he's been kind of, people believe that with his platform, he should be more pro-vax because vaccines, there's no downside.
But J. Cal, look, don't you agree there's such a media agenda here? Like, once they decide what the agenda is going to be, in this case, it's pro-vax. And I'm not saying that's wrong, okay?
Right. I'm
just saying that the way the media works is first they decide what the agenda is going to be. Then they distort everything to fit what their agenda is. So, for example, ivermectin's called a horse dewormer. And the logic here is completely tortured. They just don't want there to be any therapeutic alternative to vaccination.
They don't want to give credit. Yeah, they don't want to give credit.
They don't want to give credit to potentially, and the same thing's true. Now, look, I'm not saying ivermectin is an effective treatment. I have no idea, but there's no need to distort and demonize it before we even know what the truth is.
By the way, I wouldn't use the term agenda. I know that that's a commonly used term, that the media has an agenda. I would argue that the media has a narrative. And I would secondly argue that that narrative isn't necessarily defined by the media or by some set of people in control, but that narrative is in effect defined by the consumers that consume the media. And they they vote with their views. And so the more views, the more clicks, the more dollars you spend on certain media outlets and certain writers, the more those writers get more stories to write and the more the consumption happens. And so my point of view is that the consumer ends up ultimately being the writer of the narrative and the definer of the narrative. And the storyline starts to fit that narrative versus feeling like we maybe felt years ago that, oh my gosh, there's a few people, this cabal that's in control of the media and they're running everything and they're telling us what to believe and see. I think consumers vote with their dollars. They vote with their views. And as a result, that is the narrative that gets written.
Yeah, they were not supposed to be tribal. They were supposed to be objective. That was the concept of reporting, is to just report the facts and let the
not when it became a consumer product.
Well, now it's always been a consumer product, but now it's just become so hard to run those businesses.
For profit, right? The more you sell, the more money you make. And if
it's got, it was supposed to be subscriptions were supposed to inoculate the writers from this that, oh, we're getting paid for subscribers, therefore we don't have to worry about clicks anymore.
I predict
now what's happened, it's worse because you will lose your paid subscribers if you don't give them what they want.
Yeah, I'm going to predict right now our downvotes on YouTube are going to be in the 6 to 10% range on this episode. We have covered freaking
You're not paying.
COVID, abortion,
Joe Rogan, vaccines.
Media. Like, this is going to be our worst rated episode of all time.
But it was a good discussion between the four of us. All right, everybody, the Rain Man, David Sacks, please download the All In app. Just put a C in front of All In and you'll find it in the App Store. Congratulations to the folks who got into the syndicate, and thank you to Sacks for allowing the All-In syndicate to participate and lead the Series B. We're going to be leading the Series B. Sacks gave us the ability to lead the Series B.
I'm 45, bitches. I turned 45. I 45 never felt so
45. You look good.
By the way,
a little tuck of silver.
By the way, we have a show called All In After Party on Call In, where we've done a couple episodes, including we introduced our Whack Pack. So sort of in between. So like actually what we should do is all the fans of the show, if you like All In and you want a little more bestie,
go to the after show.
Go and sign up for All In After Party. We have 4,400 subscribers already after one day on the app. It's pretty good.
Great. Yeah,
that's good.
I mean, it'd be great for those, especially if the Whack Pack gets in there. I talked to our guy who does the merch, the bestie merch guy. And he said he's made like $5 or $6 grand on merch in the last quarter. Paying his way through school on it.
That's so great.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. All right, Friedberg, we'll see you at the production board closed event. Nobody can get in. Sorry, if you want a ticket, it's not available. Chamath, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Steve.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we'll see you all.
David, wait, Sacks, this is where you say happy birthday, you fucking
happy birthday. Say I love you, bestie.
Back at you.
HBD. /HBD. HBD.
Love you. Bye.
Has Sacks ever used an emoji? I don't think Sacks has ever used an emoji.
I mean, I have 10 years of text messages with this fuck. He's never used a single emoji once.
No, that's because he has no emotion. We'll put the emoji in there in the David subroutines.
He's written at one point, smiley emoticon. He wrote those words, smiley emoticon.
All right, and congratulations to producer Nick who is getting married.
Yeah, great
tonight.
fucking decision.
Great.
See you on the other side, you fucking dumbass.
Congratulations, Nick. We love you.
And Rachel.
And Rachel. Congratulations, guys.
Rachel, you're going to get half of the call-in stock that Nick has. So.
Yeah, congratulations. You got half of his advisor shares to call in. All right, we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
We'll let your winners ride.
Rain Man David Sacks.
And instead, we open source it to the fans, and they've just gone crazy with it.
Love you, besties. Queen of Quinoa. Besties are back.
That is my dog taking a notice in your driveway.
Oh, man. My haberdasher will meet me at place. We should all just get a room and just have one big huge orgy because they're all just useless. It's like this sexual tension that they just need to release somehow.
Wet your beak. Wet your beak.
Your feet.
We need to get merch.
Besties are back.